I haven't given myself time to recover or time to heal. I had a intense year.
Joe Rogan's name is popping up everywhere in Hollywood gossip, but this time, it's not for his usual unfiltered takes on culture or comedy. Instead, he's become one of the loudest voices to question an unexpected feud involving Blake Lively. Ryan Reynolds and Justin Baldoni, a trio nobody would have guessed would cross paths in such a volatile way. The chatter started as hushed online rumors about secret lawsuits and manipulative power moves. Now, it's dominating social media feeds and stirring debates about just how much influence Hollywood's elite truly hold. Fans of these beloved celebrities were initially blindsided. How could Ryan and Blake, famous for witty social media banter and seemingly philanthropic lifestyles, possibly be entangled in a legal scuffle with Justin Baldoni, the actor-director admired for heartfelt projects and a gentle demeanor? More surprising is the role Joe Rogan has played in magnifying Baldoni's side of the story. Observers are calling this showdown a microcosm of a larger Hollywood culture war, one pitting power, reputation, and carefully crafted images against authenticity and evidence-backed claims. Yet the strangest twist isn't even about the lawsuit. It's about why Justin Baldoni, known for his trademark hair and easygoing style, recently shaved his head and withdrew from the public eye. People began speculating that this physical transformation had something to do with heartbreak or extreme stress. Could that be true? Some insiders say it's a direct response to the emotional devastation this ordeal has inflicted on him. Others whisper that it's a rebranding move for an uncertain future. Either way, the entire situation has introduced a rare depth to the usual churn of celebrity news, forcing viewers everywhere to ask, who do we believe, and how did it get this far? Keep your eyes open as the layers peel back. The initial headlines barely graze the surface of a saga involving hush-hush text messages, swirling allegations surfaced at suspiciously convenient times, and an industry hierarchy that thrives on fear and silence. Welcome to a story that might just reshape Hollywood's understanding of who really pulls the strings.
Amid the ongoing legal battle between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, an interview recorded prior to the lawsuits has been released where Baldoni alludes to having a difficult year.
Before Joe Rogan, before any mention of lawsuits, there were simply faint whispers. They started as background chatter among production assistants and minor insiders, mostly about how Justin Baldoni was taking on a new film project with major potential. The property reportedly had the makings of a franchise, books with a dedicated fan base, a screenplay with star-making roles, and heavy financial backing from top-tier studios. Baldoni, riding high on a wave of positive reviews from past projects, seemed poised to ascend another rung on the Hollywood ladder. Somewhere in that swirl of promise, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds reportedly stepped into the picture. As A-list, as it gets, they command box office clout and beloved reputations. Attaching their names to any project often guarantees big studio interest. At first glance, it looked like a perfect marriage of creative minds. Justin's thoughtful directorial sensibilities combined with Blake and Ryan's comedic flair and mainstream pull. But friction can lurk behind the gloss of well-lit publicity. Photos. Over time, the rumor mill began spitting out tidbits. Creative disagreements, ego clashes, even issues surrounding final script approval. Nothing truly shocking in an industry where collaboration can quickly sour. Yet, the talk took a darker turn when people started using terms like weaponizing a movement and Me Too meltdown. Suddenly, vague references to tension morphed into accusations that someone...
Did Ryan Reynolds ditch Blake Lively at the premiere of Another Simple Favor to save his own career?
Possibly Blake or Ryan had overstepped professional boundaries in an effort to leverage cultural shifts for private gain. For Justin Baldoni, the stakes escalated at a dizzying pace. Beloved for his work championing emotional vulnerability, he had always projected positivity and politeness. To see his name roped into something so contentious felt off for many fans. Regardless, the details were still too fuzzy for the mainstream press to latch onto. That's when Joe Rogan grabbed the microphone and pointed a giant spotlight right at the core of this swirling scandal. Joe Rogan's influence is undeniable. His podcasts often shake up public opinion, drawing millions of listeners who appreciate his unfiltered approach. So when he addressed the Baldoni-Lively-Reynolds standoff, It was like a starter's pistol firing. Suddenly, this story catapulted out of insular Hollywood chatter and into full-blown national conversation. Rogan expressed shock at the length some celebrities might go to maintain or seize control, and he didn't mince words describing how he believed Blake and Ryan had messed up. He dove into claims that the star couple attempted to tarnish Justin Baldoni's reputation by painting him as some kind of manipulative figure, all under the banner of championing survivors. Rogan questioned whether these allegations surfaced coincidentally at a crucial juncture in negotiations, or if they were timed to strong-arm Justin out of his creative rights. He played clips, read transcripts, and invoked experts in both law and Hollywood culture, weaving a narrative that struck many as disturbingly plausible. Listeners were spellbound.
Colonel Kurtz, who trolled Blake at the premiere. Speaking of the premiere, we're going to talk about this red carpet. Why wasn't Ryan Reynolds there?
People who'd never heard of the behind-the-scenes fiasco suddenly had a rough timeline. Justin owns or co-owns a popular set of film rights. Blake and Ryan want deeper involvement. Friction arises, and soon accusations swirl that paint Justin in a negative light. In any conflict that involves a power imbalance, the public is naturally inclined to root for the underdog if they think they're hearing the truth. Rogan took the stance that Justin might be that underdog, trying to remain afloat in a sea of accusations. What made Rogan's commentary truly explosive was how it pulled in fans of his show who might otherwise not care about Hollywood feuds. Many of them rallied behind Justin, bombarding social media with messages of support, while also calling out perceived hypocrisy among A-listers. Overnight, the dynamic changed from quiet rumor to national debate. All the while, Justin Baldoni was contending with a lawsuit that he said challenged the core of his personal and professional identity. Whenever a scandal rocks Hollywood, spectators often see only the public statements, carefully worded press releases, polite disclaimers about letting the legal process play out, or cryptic tweets hinting at deeper truths. Behind those polished statements can lie entire ecosystems of lawyers, agents, and PR specialists orchestrating strategies to protect reputations. In the wake of Rogan's revelations, speculation grew that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds had launched a strategic campaign to either isolate Baldoni or wrest control of his project.
They're done, and it's no wonder everyone avoided them like the plague.
TMZ just dropped a bomb on Blake Lively.
At the heart of it lay claims that they used the cultural momentum of recent movements to paint him as problematic. Tied into this swirling mess was the possibility that certain tabloids and mainstream outlets might have run stories leaning in favor of the power couple, either for fear of losing access or simply because it was more profitable to do so. That's when the talk of lawsuits gained even greater traction. Justin Baldoni, typically soft-spoken and conflict-averse, seemed pushed to his limit. Reports emerged of him filing claims against a major publication for defamation, contending that they had promulgated false allegations damaging his livelihood. Meanwhile, sources indicated that Blake and Ryan were also strategizing for potential legal skirmishes, possibly to defend themselves against counter-accusations. Industry insiders whispered that if Justin truly had text message receipts or other documentation that contradicted the official story from Lively and Reynolds, he might actually have a solid case. The mere suggestion that A-listers were caught in a web of contradictory statements was enough to keep social media fervor blazing. Still, uncertainty reigned. Was the partial evidence made public the entire story, or were there more bombshells waiting in the wings? Then came the haircut. Observers first noticed it in a few grainy paparazzi snaps of Justin walking through an airport. The usually laid-back star and father, known for his flowing locks and warm smile, looked almost unrecognizable with a completely shaved head and a serious expression. Speculation erupted. Was it for a role, a rebellious statement, or something else entirely? Shortly after those pictures went public, a sobering explanation started to surface. People close to Justin hinted that the transformation was a direct response to the crushing stress he'd faced for over a year. Rumors described how the emotional weight of defending himself against legal accusations took a toll on his mental health. They suggested he struggled with sleepless nights, weight loss, and spiraling self-doubt, Hardly surprising when you consider a continuous onslaught of public scrutiny. Friends reported that he couldn't stand to look at pictures from just a few months prior. Photos that once captured a vibrant, optimistic filmmaker now reminded him of a period marked by betrayal and relentless legal threats. In a moment that many can relate to, Justin supposedly decided that severing ties with his old image, literally, might serve as a catalyst for emotional renewal.
There's always friction that happens when you make a movie like this.
This ends with me. I'm done. I'm tired.
The shaved head became a symbolic gesture of shedding a tortured past and forging a fresh start. The heartbreak underlying this choice is clear. He'd entered a grueling chapter of his life thinking justice or truth would prevail swiftly, only to discover that high-profile legal disputes rarely yield quick resolutions. For a man who built his brand around empathy and honest conversations, feeling repeatedly misrepresented in the media cut deeper than any professional setback. The haircut, then, wasn't just a whim, it was a lifeline, a grounding gesture that helped him regain a sense of control amid the chaos. After dealing with lawyers and online speculation, Justin Baldoni made the decision to step away from Los Angeles. The city that represents fame, glitz, and opportunity also represents insidious rumor mills and endless prying eyes. Seeking solace, he traveled to Hawaii, bringing his family along for what sources describe as an extended stay. Photos that have trickled out show him walking with his wife and kids along sandy beaches, collecting seashells, and attempting to refocus on what truly matters. For many, Hawaii is synonymous with spiritual renewal and healing vibes, and that resonates strongly in Justin's story. He reportedly used the time to disconnect from social media, ignore the tabloids, and focus on simpler joys, like playing with his children in the surf, meditating outdoors, and rediscovering day-to-day moments that get lost in Hollywood's hustle. In those quiet hours, he confronted the emotional toll of the scandal, working through it with the support of family and friends. Insiders say this period has been transformative. He's seen glimpses of a path forward that doesn't rely on bending to Hollywood politics. While anxious about the unresolved legal battles still looming, he finds strength in the small victories. Open conversations with loyal fans, encouraging messages from those who've faced similar trials, and even new project ideas that remain, untethered to the controversy. This renewed perspective doesn't mean Justin is giving up the fight for vindication. Rather, he's using Hawaii's calm to muster the resilience needed for whatever legal storms lay ahead. The once calm seas of his career path have turned turbulent, and he'll need every bit of mental clarity to navigate back to safe harbors. Meanwhile, something else curious is happening. As the lawsuit intensifies, certain members of the entertainment industry are breaking their own silence, albeit cautiously.
Less than 12 hours after Justin filed, Blake's legal team doubled down, calling the bombshell $400 million lawsuit another chapter in the abuser playbook.
A few crew members from older projects or employees linked to production, companies have come forward to share stories about the behind-the-scenes might of people like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Though none openly accuse the couple of wrongdoing, they hint at a culture of fear that discourages challenging Hollywood's royalty. A few have alluded to phone calls suddenly going unanswered, job offers mysteriously disappearing, and meetings getting canceled when a project or a person lands on the wrong side of someone powerful. Others confirm that in today's climate, a single whiff of impropriety can derail an entire career, whether the allegations are fully proven or not. It's an environment ripe for manipulation by anyone willing to spin half-truths or weaponize social narratives. The hush-hush nature of these revelations underscores how deeply entrenched the fear of retaliation runs. In an industry built on relationships, burning a bridge with a superstar could mean losing everything from future collaborations to studio distribution deals. Even fans are starting to realize that for every rumor that goes public, there might be 10 more that never see the light of day because the stakes are simply too high. Yet with every new piece of inside information, the tide is slowly shifting. Public skepticism toward A-listers who claim moral high ground without transparent evidence is rising. If the text messages and receipts Justin Baldoni allegedly has do come out in a court of law or a well-documented expose, the potential fallout could be staggering. And that's where this story takes another unexpected turn. As if the public drama wasn't enough, swirling rumors keep the tension high. One thread suggests that Ryan Reynolds was never entirely on board with the aggressive tactics said to be orchestrated by a broader team, but felt cornered into supporting them. Another rumor insists that Blake Lively was the true mastermind behind the scenes, pushing for a swift legal maneuver that would strip Baldoni of any claim to creative control. There's also talk of hush money being offered, though to whom, and for what remains murky.
Is my favourite story, I think, in showbiz this year. The Justin Baldoni war with Blake Lively, which seems to me, initially I felt quite sorry for Blake Lively.
Speculative minds weave dramatic theories. Some say a private settlement might be on the table, designed to sweep the entire fiasco under the rug and preserve the reputations of all involved. Others claim multiple parties have recorded phone calls revealing more damning details than any text exchange could, but no one wants to be the first to present them in public for fear of career suicide. Whether any of these whisperings have a factual core is tough to ascertain. What is certain is that the swirling atmosphere has fans on the edge of their seats. Online forums dissect each new tidbit, flipping between supporting Justin Baldoni as a battered underdog and supporting Blake and Ryan as misunderstood celebrities cornered by unscrupulous opportunists. Then Joe Rogan's commentary resurfaces, echoing in the background, reminding everyone that the last few years have shown audiences the cracks in Hollywood's facade, and that once you see those cracks, it's hard to unsee them. But that wasn't the whole story. This saga, fueled by controversies that push emotional buttons, like alleged betrayal and misusing a social movement, only gets more tangled as time goes on.
Then I've been reading all the messages between them all, and which he's been putting out, obviously, and it just seems like a pair of absolute weapons-grade narcissists.
The question saturating every conversation is, how did it all go so wrong? And more importantly, does anyone emerge unscathed? Despite the chaos, Justin Baldoni isn't entirely alone. Across social platforms, fans who grew to love his humane outlook from previous projects are urging him not to lose hope. Petitions are floating around, demanding that major studios give him a fair chance and refrain from blacklisting him based on unproven accusations. Others are pointing out that if he can indeed produce evidence countering the claims against him, the narrative might shift dramatically and potentially reflect poorly on those who tried to silence him. In a heartening twist, some mid-level Hollywood professionals, people without A-list clout but with enough knowledge to see patterns, express quiet solidarity. They comment, often anonymously, about seeing this story before, referencing how swiftly an influential group can band together to push a competitor out. These micro acts of courage might indicate a broader awakening within the industry, though it remains unclear whether they have enough force to topple well-protected reputations. For Justin, each new voice that emerges is a reminder that his career isn't defined solely by the scandal. He has other ideas, other goals. Close confidants say he's scripting personal passion projects that steer clear of mainstream meddling, hoping that if the legal dust settles, he'll have a slate of fresh stories to tell. Indeed, redemption often waits for those who endure the storm. Yet redemption is never guaranteed in Hollywood. Even if the public shifts in his favor, the behind-the-scenes deals and alliances often dictate who gets a second chance and who doesn't. As Justin stands at a crossroads, he's forced to weigh the cost of fighting back versus simply moving on with his life in a less spotlight-heavy role. For now, he's chosen to stand firm, believing in the old adage that truth, eventually, must come to light. As the pressure mounts, even die-hard fans of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are showing signs of unease. Social media watchers note how certain fan accounts have gone silent or become defensive, while others question if the couple's comedic charm has masked more calculating behavior.
The judge in the It Ends With Us case just denied Blake Lively. But does Ryan Reynolds have a smoking gun that he's been holding out on?
Could their carefully built image withstand a serious blow if evidence emerges of manipulative conduct? Hollywood's royalty often weathers storms that would ruin a lesser-known figure. They have the resources to hire top-tier crisis managers, media consultants, and legal teams adept at spinning narratives or burying them in endless paperwork. Yet if the rising tide of public opinion demands accountability, even A-listers risk tarnishing their brand. The court of public opinion can be brutal, and with the internet, negative stories can survive far longer than any memory of a good deed. No official statement has confirmed or denied the more extreme rumors, and the couple's representatives cling to vague remarks about ongoing legal matters. That strategy might work in other circumstances, but with Joe Rogan and an army of online sleuths dissecting every angle, maintaining silence becomes increasingly difficult. Some speculate that if a trial date is set, Ryan and Blake could find themselves under oath, forced to address uncomfortable questions publicly. The looming possibility of a very public legal showdown looms large. In the meantime, fans are left to speculate whether their favorite comedic duo might have taken advantage of social movements for personal gain. It's a bitter pill for anyone who's admired Ryan's quick wit and Blake's philanthropic gestures. Perhaps their side of the story holds justifications no one else has heard yet. But for now, that side remains frustratingly silent, leading people to wonder what might be revealed if they're forced to speak up. Right now, Hollywood stands at a crossroads, uncertain which narrative will dominate. Joe Rogan's fiery commentary has rattled the usual gatekeepers, and fans have begun demanding clearer answers from everyone involved. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, once regarded as the picture-perfect couple, find themselves in an unusual spotlight, contending with swirling rumors and allegations of orchestrating a takedown. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni, physically and emotionally changed by this ordeal, recovers in Hawaii while plotting his next moves. The script for this real-life drama remains unwritten in many ways.
Oh man, Blake Lively just got denied. Pretty rough. I didn't see that coming. I got to be honest. Just to recap before we get to the judge's verdict to explain what happened here, she requested more time.
Depending on how the legal battles unfold, we may witness a massive shift in power dynamics, or we might see an efficient hush-up that leaves the public with more questions than answers. Insiders across the industry quietly hold their breath, watching to see if a star couple's carefully curated brand can withstand the unrelenting force of public scrutiny. At the core of this story is an unsettling truth. Illusions in Hollywood can shatter within seconds if someone with enough evidence or clout decides to reveal them. It leaves viewers worldwide wondering whose illusions will crack first. Is Justin Baldoni genuinely a victim of a high-profile manipulation, or did he misread a situation that spiraled out of control? Are Blake and Ryan truly behind a cunning scheme, or are they themselves caught in a complicated swirl of rumors beyond their direct control? For now, the only certainty is that no one emerges wholly untarnished when controversies like this rage on. Reputations hang in the balance, studio finances are on the line, and fans worldwide are left piecing together conflicting accounts in search of the real story. The tension is palpable, and the final act has yet to be written. Wherever the truth lies, one fact shines through. There's a new awareness that star power doesn't automatically translate to innocence or guilt. It takes evidence, transparency, and the willingness to face uncomfortable questions head-on. Until that moment arrives, if it ever does, this high-stakes drama continues to captivate, leaving us all to reflect on the tangled web that is Hollywood's moral compass. Remember, illusions can be powerful, but every illusion eventually meets a reckoning. And in a town built on carefully constructed narratives, even the most dazzling house of cards can come crashing down with a single well-timed revelation. Stay alert, because what happens next in the Rogan-Baldoni-Lively-Reynolds saga just might redefine the boundaries of Hollywood's grip on truth, and the lengths to which its elite will go to maintain their version of reality.